You're listening to The Real Short Box, a comic book podcast made for geeks by geeks.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to The Real Short Box. My name is Donald, and I am here with the amazingly talented, the effortlessly famous Pedro Mendoza, actor, director, producer, star of many feature lengths and shorts as well. Pedro, thank you for joining, sir.
Thank you for having me, Don.
Of course. Always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure when we get a chance to talk. For those that don't know, Pete and I go way back, like 05. So about 18 years now, we've known each other. It's a pretty long time. And we've been, for most of that time, we were Comic-Con buddies. We would go to Comic-Con every single year. We would scrimp and save. We would do whatever we had to in order to, we didn't murder anybody. Why would we? We couldn't do that, right?
Never convicted. Never convicted.
Right. Exactly. So we did all that, and then he went to Texas to spread his wings and flourish there, and I stayed in sunny LA, and I am currently back in Ohio for a brief stint, and thought, why not get a bunch of people together that I can chat with, to kind of to keep my finger on the pulse, so to speak, of the industry, and to check in with people, see how they're doing, see what they're up to, and also discuss comic books and pop culture. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Pete, we are going to be talking about basically DC Comics over the summer put out a 2-month stint of work called Night Terrors. And what that basically was it was kind of interesting. It was a character that was attacked by a entity, so to speak. So Dr. Destiny, he was attacked by in his dream by a mysterious being. The mysterious being calls himself Insomnia, and he summons nightmare constructs to invade the world and proceeds to cause the entire world to fall under his slumber, including heroes like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Joker, Nightwing, all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
He did it pretty effortlessly, yeah. So it was interesting. Deadman was one of the few that could see it, obviously because he's dead, and he walks between both worlds. So he went to warn the Justice League, hey, this guy's coming for you guys, but it was a little too late in a lot of instances. And I won't spoil it for you, but Pete, I know that you're just recently finding out about this series. When I mentioned it to you, what did you think about it? Did it sound like something that would be appealing to you, or what?
Oh yeah, it's like another What If series from Marvel, and now like these Night Terrors is kind of just like their own kind of version of that. Yeah, exactly, kind of like that, or basically DC's another one of their long Elseworld series, because sometimes DC would do an Elseworld one shot, and sometimes they would do like a 4-part story with 4 prestige format books, and that's how they made their money. They put those out, and they would charge $4.95 to $6.95 a piece for them, and people gobbled them up. Yeah, so that was very lucrative for them for a while, of course, until it wasn't, and then they discontinued the Elseworlds series and kind of folded a lot of that into Vertigo, which then closed down. And then they created DC Black Label, which I always thought was dumb. Unfortunately, I think Vertigo is the standard. You're setting the bar when you put something out via Vertigo. And I always felt that way. So I kind of miss it since it's been gone now for years. But so one of these instances, let's talk about this really quickly. I just want to give you guys an example of the characters and what they had to go through. One of these characters was the Joker, believe it or not. In this story, the Joker's confronting Batman when Batman slips and falls on his face, knocks himself unconscious, and falls over a building and kills himself. Joker's like, oh my God, my arch nemesis is dead. So he grows bored with villainy, with crime, believe it or not, gets a job.
he gets a job. It's like at a telemarketing type place or something. It's like at a business firm, and he actually does pretty well. Nobody even comments on the fact that he kills people or used to be a killer. Whispers that Batman's still around, and he's like, no, because his corpse is in my closet. So that's an interesting one. Mr. Freeze and Scarecrow want to apply to the company that Joker works at, but he doesn't want them to because Mr. Freeze says that Batman's still alive. It turns out that the Joker had been sleepwalking and dressing up as Batman to fight crime, which I thought was an amazing twist. So if you get a chance to read the Night Terrors, at least read the Joker one. I think that one's kind of sets the gold standard for the stories, the spinoffs, so to speak, or what you would call what would they call those? The tie-ins that took place during this. I think it was a 4-issue episodic run of this character Insomnia and him trying to take over the DC universe, or basically the world. So we were talking about this, and I posed a question to you, and I was like, if now there is a character named Nightmare in the Marvel universe, and he has created nightmares for Marvel characters, but I thought, let's have a little fun. Let's say that this Insomnia dude teams up with Nightmare in the Marvel universe, and he's like, hey, let's really wreak havoc over here. I didn't do so well in DC, so let's try some of these other hoople heads and see if we can take care of business. Nightmare graciously accepts. The two of them team up, and they start wreaking havoc on the Marvel universe. In this instance, what would you do? Like, what would your nightmare scenarios be for some of these characters? Do you have any off the top of your head?
Like for the Marvel universe, I would probably say maybe Punisher just doesn't have good aim, and he just like he keeps missing like even his shots. Like he can't defend himself. Like he just completely lost the ability on how to fight.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Wow, that's a really good one. Like, I love that. He can't aim. He's like a stormtrooper. That would be amazing to see him as a stormtrooper in Star Wars. I'd love to see a crossover. The Punisher joins the Rebel Alliance or some shit,
The Empire.
Yeah, what if the Punisher joined the Empire and he would be like, son of a bitch, I can't aim all of a sudden. That would be amazing. I would love to see that. And they could do that too now that Disney owns Lucasfilms. They own the rights to Star Wars and they own the rights to Marvel. They could put that together. They could do that. Disney, if you're listening right now, Pete just came up with a hell of an idea and you guys need to follow through on it. That's what I think. Get it way.
Or just like Punisher living in constant disappointment from Captain America, the one who he idolizes the most. Captain America just completely just talks down to him like as a soldier.
Oh, that would suck. Poor Frank Castle. Can't take the heat. Got to get out of the kitchen. That sounds like something that Cap would not say. But in this type of nightmare scenario, Cap can be a total asshole and say whatever he wants. Oh, little Frank can't do this job. Little Frank can't aim. Yeah, that would be terrible. One time I did customer service and I had a customer baby talk to me at one point. Yeah. I was like, because they kept yelling at me over the phone and cursing and stuff, and I was like, ma'am, and it was a lady, or sort of, and I was like, ma'am, you can't talk to me like that. I said, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to terminate this call. I said, this is abuse. This is not something I put up with. And she was like, oh, what'll man get his feelings? And I just went click.
Dang.
I was like, oh, hell no. We don't do that here. So I think that she might have been related to Steve Rogers in another time.
Oh, geez.
She was just talking shit. And I was like, man, just because you have autonomy, people don't know who you are, doesn't mean that you get to do that. So let that be a lesson to everybody, by the way, is that don't talk shit to representatives when you call up. You can be angry, but you need to let them know that you don't think it's their fault. You're not blaming them. You're not upset with them, anything like that. You just need to make that known to them. I think that's the important part. But Here's one that I have in the back of my head. And I mentioned it to you earlier, and I think it bears being mentioned. And that would be the Hulk his fists, when he gets angry, they turn into a soft cotton, and he is unable to wreak any havoc and do any damage. He's just like really fluffy, and it's just like getting slapped with cotton candy. Can you imagine how enraged he would be because he can't inflict any damage? Like, what would you do? Like, if you were just angry all the time and you were the weakest person in the world, you know?
Like you're giving this punch like you're all, but it's just landing like a feather soft pillow.
Like Bruce Banner's in line at Starbucks, right? And somebody cuts in line in front of him, and he hulks out, and then taps the guy on the shoulder. The guy turns around, and he gets hit with a fluffy fist of fury, and he's just like, "What the hell was that?" And the Hulk's just screaming and yelling at him. He's like, "Get out of here, you freaking weirdo!" That to me. Go ahead.
If the same thing happened to the Abomination, it'd just be like a huge pillow fight.
Yes, yeah, he's made out of like feathers and shit. And it's just like you have cotton stuffing everywhere and feathers all over the place every time they fight. That sounds like that could be a good time just to watch. I think like the Hulk and the Abomination are at it again. Cotton all over and feathers everywhere. Cleanup crews will be working till midnight tonight. Maybe they just like continuously grow it, like they keep growing out cotton or keep growing out feathers or something. I don't know. Something silly. Yeah. Do you have another one? Is something else that you could think of, like that they would really mess with, the guys within the Marvel universe?
I don't know. Like all of a sudden, everybody in New York has massive arachnophobia, and they can't even stand Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
Oh, damn! Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, they all hate Spider-Man because they're all scared to death of him. Everybody has their what do they call it? A chancla?
Yeah.
Chancla in their hand. Everybody has their flip-flop or sandal in their hand, ready to slap him, bap, 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 every time he comes by. Every time he's flying past, they're jumping up in the air trying to smack him. That would kind of be amazing.
Or he actually spurts out webbing from his butt now.
Yeah, that would be awkward as hell, but also really super funny. Like, how would you fight crime? Okay, so here's my thought on this. He wouldn't always want to just pull down his pants. So he would have to have some type of a thing where he can pull apart his area around there where it would like, I don't know, like Velcro maybe? I don't know. Like or maybe he just has a hole cut out and he just walks around with his asshole exposed.
and he does like he shoots it like he does like a Kegel exercise.
Yeah. God. Yeah, he has to go to the gym to work out his buns, like to make sure that he can shoot far. Oh God.
And then he's got to constantly fight crime, or else like it builds up and he ends up getting like a arachnid butt.
Yeah. Oh, and his butt would be so sticky too. Think about that. Shoot that webbing out. Like, what if he accidentally gets some on his crack and it gets stuck, and then his butt cheeks are stuck together?
Oh no.
And then you have to be like, hang on, I gotta dissolve this real quick. And he uses this liquid that he pours down his crack.
Oh no.
Jesus. This is awful and amazing all at the same time. I kind of really like this one. Yeah.
Or like Johnny Storm actually feels like the flames as he like flames on.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, that's tragic. That would be pain. He just screams the whole time.
Well, he can still fly, but he's just like screaming and pain.
Right. They can hear him coming. There's no sneak attack there. They're like, here comes Johnny. Any second now. And then he lands. And then he's still screaming. And then he just has to. Oh God, that poor man. Yeah, that would be terrible. Same thing with Iceman though. Like he could feel it. So he's like just frozen, and he's just cold all the time. I don't think that would be as bad, but I don't know. I guess after a certain point you couldn't feel anything. So maybe he would just fall over because he couldn't feel his legs.
Oh, then he breaks.
Yeah. Now, when I was a kid, I always thought about like, because kids are perverts. I always thought, what if like Galactus just had a constant erection?
Oh no.
Well, because think about it, on the comic, it was like the coming of Galactus, right? And I was like, well,
It's
well,
just like
now,
it's just like his nut from like the other side of the universe coming to encapsulate Earth.
oh God, he's just shooting it from a distance, or like he's just embarrassed all the time. Like he shows up to battle the Fantastic Four, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's got a boner," and they're pointing at him, and
Like
he grabs the moon and puts it in front of his crotch to hide it. No, I don't.
like whenever you have to go up to the chalkboard in front of the class and you just have an erection out of nowhere. Like that's Galactus every time he goes to fight. Like he just
That's
gets
a
an erection.
that's a pretty big nightmare scenario that I'm sure a lot of people that are listening right now has had in school. That you would have like your textbook, or you would just start thinking of terrible things. Like, mine was like B. Arthur, I think it was from the Golden Girls. I'd be like, oh, her naked. And then I'd be like, okay, I think I got this. It would just, I'd take about a minute, and then that would be all,
Oh my
or you'd
god.
have to, yeah, it's pretty terrible. B. Arthur naked.
Oh my
I mean,
god.
because I don't ever remember her young. So like for me, it was like, nah, she's just old as hell. And
you know she would be a total dominatrix because she was a Marine.
in real life,
Yeah, she was a Marine.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Shit, you're probably right. She would be the one to take charge for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Well, good thing I didn't know that back then. Why is it going the exact opposite way? What is happening? Why am I attracted to nursing homes? God. Oh, we're terrible. We're terrible. Okay. One more. Do you have one more?
I guess maybe Professor Xavier always having like really bad intrusive thoughts.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So when like he can always hear like naughty things from other people, that kind of shit. Like he can never hear the good shit when he's reading people's minds, and he can't stop reading their minds. So he can never shut it down. And it's just always, how guys think about they said like sex every 3 or 6 seconds or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So he can like never be around dudes like ever, because he's like, you guys are just fucking perverts, and I can't talk to you, and I can't concentrate when all you're thinking about is humping that tree over there and blah blah blah. That makes
And
sense.
like and that's all Jean Grey can hear is the professor's thoughts.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, that's even worse. Like if he can't stop having them, and she has to listen to it. Oh, that's so awkward. Poor Jean, man. No wonder she went crazy. She went dark. She went for the Phoenix. She was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like this Earth deserves to burn because Xavier's a pervert.
That would probably
And
be like also her like anybody within a 5 foot radius, she can instantly hear what they're thinking. Like she can't block them out.
that's true. That's a good one too. I always like the idea, and I mentioned this one earlier. Was Tony Stark couldn't taste couldn't get the effects of alcohol. So no matter what he drank or how much he drank, that would be like, I think that would just be his own personal hell. It'd be pretty terrible for him back then, back in the 80s, when he was drinking up a storm.
That reminds me of Constantine, the film,
Uh-huh.
where the priest breaks into the convenience store and he's trying to drink all this alcohol, but he can't. Like there's nothing coming out, but in reality, he is just like poisoning himself with alcohol.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I completely forgot about that part. Yeah. And we might get Keanu as Constantine again, so that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for a lot of things. I was excited for Blue Beetle. Unfortunately, it took kind of a shit in the box office.
Mm.
Here's the thing. They were like, oh, it's a disappointment. It wasn't supposed to be released in theaters. It was only supposed to go to HBO Max, right? Or just
Mhm.
Max at the time. So there would have been no recouping technically. It would have just been people purchasing subscriptions to watch it. So I think they made a smart move, because if it ultimately makes money, or even if it's 5 million or something in profit, that's still better than just releasing it on Max, I think, in
Mhm.
my eyes anyway. So I think it was a smart move, and I'm still crossing my fingers for a few things to happen within that universe for sure. But
Yeah.
since we've been talking about nightmares and horrific things for these characters and stuff, you actually gave a few people some nightmares, I'm sure. You were in a couple short films to start it out. The first one was The Terror on Halloween Night, and you played a character that doesn't have a name. They would call him, reference him like the clown. But when it's credited in the film, it's Jack/Ripper.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. And the second film was The Massacre on Halloween Night, and that came out last year or the year before, something like that.
Yeah. Last year.
Okay, right. And then so this year you have a full-blown, full-length film just called Halloween Night. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Hey, there we go. I got a hell of a memory. Look at me. So Halloween Night, you play the same character. You play this Jack/Ripper. And it's truly frightening, the costume, the outfit. It's kind of like the top half of a clown mask, and then the bottom half is gone. It's like torn off or cut off. And the bottom half is just, you were kind of soaked in blood, is what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
like your
that's
face.
yeah, it's just the white clown makeup over like my facial hair with the red lipstick makeup.
Nice.
Kind of just exaggerated corners.
It looks great. It looks really good. It looks completely frightening and horrific, and anybody that's scared of clowns will never want to come near you ever again. So congratulations on that. So the basic premise, if you want to tell the audience that's listening, the basic premise of Halloween Night, so they can kind of get a taste, and then let them know when this is going to be available and where, if you would, please.
So all three, both the first two films are available on YouTube. You can catch them on there right now at the Valley Entertainment YouTube channel. This new film is going to be coming out on Amazon and Tubi. They're going to try and get it on those networks. So basically, it's about an escaped mental patient who has a dual personality. That's a clown that kills children mostly, because Jack doesn't want to kill kids. Like, he doesn't mind killing people in general, but like there's this urge to kill children, but he can't do it himself. So he brings out this other character, Ripper, who's like a clown who tries to be funny to like get kids close to him, kind of like how Pennywise like lures kids, but he's just like vicious and cruel.
Okay, so he created a kind of a split personality, a dissociative identity disorder, so to speak. Or for those that don't know, multiple personality disorder is what they would or used to call it, that kind of thing. Okay, and he couldn't hurt these children, so he would create Ripper, who would then dress up as the clown and go out and hunt kids and children, teenagers too, I think, if I recall.
Yeah.
He had it seemed like he had a hell of a time. So this full length one, continuation of the story, if I'm correct here, but it's a continuation of the story. And does this tie it up, so to speak? Is this kind of the trilogy that we're looking at? Is it wrapping up the storyline, or is it maybe going to go a little bit further?
Yeah, this should be wrapping up the entire storyline. Right now, they're still editing the whole film. I know in about a week or two, I'm going to be doing some reshoots, and they're going to try and get it out by Halloween.
Okay, that would be amazing. Definitely let me and let your fans know when this comes out. And if you send me the link, I'll put it up. Anybody that knows us here, we do have the Real Short Box. We have a page on Facebook. We also have an Instagram and a Twitter. We're more active, I would say, probably on Facebook. We do have an exclusive club on there, Friends of the Real Short Box. If you do want to be a part of that, please feel free to get on Facebook, look that up, and just ask to be brought into the group. We'll bring you right on into the group. And then when Pete is ready to give us that link, I'll post it up on there. And that way you guys can be, some of the early viewers, so to speak, to see it, because otherwise you'll just have to keep checking the YouTube channel. Now, what was that YouTube channel one more time?
The Valley Entertainment.
Okay, excellent. Well, that sounds great, Pete. I'm super stoked for it. I've seen the first two. I thought they were super fun and creepy and bloody, gory. Just I had a really good time with them. So I appreciate you guys putting them out and doing that. And I am definitely looking forward to this new one. I think it's going to be a hoot, so to speak, if blood and guts and scary clowns are your thing. If they're not, then maybe you'll watch it with your hands over your eyes a little bit, but kind of open your fingers just a little bit so you can peek through, and then you can close them back up when the bad stuff happens, which is probably going to be often. But geez, Pete, this was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you. Thanks, man.
You too, man. No problem. This was a lot of fun.
And for those that want to listen to us, you can reach out to us. The Real Short Box. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Blueberry, Gmail or Google, I guess, Amazon, you name it, we're on there. If you can't find us, let us know. Reach out to us and say, hey, I can't find you on this platform. And we'll see if there's an issue that we could fix, or if we're not on there, we will get on there for you so you can listen to us. So with that, thanks again, Pete, and thanks to you, the listeners. And if we don't see you out and about anytime soon, perhaps we'll see you at the comic shop.
This has been The Real Short Box. We'll see you at the comic shop. Thanks for listening.